Hi there and welcome back to MassiveSynth.com tutorials. For the month of February, the tutorials focus is going to be on making dubstep sounds with Massive. Starting today, we're going to be making a growl bass that I played for you there on the intro. Cool sort of modulated growl type sound. So we can start off here by creating a new sound in Massive and program the oscillators and the filter section, and then you're going to use envelopes really to just make that sound come alive and give the sound its kind of growl type quality. So we'll start off oscillator 1. We're going to have an M torque wave shape. I'm going to take the pitch down by 2 octaves to -24, pull the wave table position just a little bit before 3/4 of the way. Intensity stays on full, amp can stay on full, and the routing can stay routing to both filters here. We'll come to the modulations and stuff later, so we'll just set up the next oscillator. So oscillator 2, turn that on, and this is going to be a sine square wave. I'm going to put it all the way to the left, so we're just getting a sine from this oscillator, and we're going to take the pitch down by 2 octaves, intensity stay on full, amp can stay on full, again routing to both filters. So we've got quite a nice sound already really. The M torque is kind of creating all the grit and sort of like the raspy quality, the dubsteppy kind of growly quality, and then the sine is just boosting those bottom ends really, just giving us a bit of sub in the sound. So for the filter, I'm going to use a bandpass filter. Keep the cutoff round about where it is, just pointing just before the C, and pull the bandwidth down a little bit and push the resonance up slightly. And then what we want to do to sort of have that movement in the sound is modulate that cutoff frequency to give us that movement. I'm also going to pull the mix slider down to mix 1 and 2, it's halfway between the both, and just pull the volume and filter 2 up. So we've got kind of a part filtered sound and part unfiltered sound, and just having that volume of filter 2 up is just giving us a richer sort of sound, a richer quality on the sound really, more volume and stuff. So I think next we can just set up some effects quickly. I'm going to use a classic tube just to distort the sound a little bit, just drive it. So pull the dry wet down a little bit, the drive down to around the same about value really. And we can set the EQ now as well, and just give a bit more bottom end on the low shelf, and just boost some of those kind of lower mids. Again, that's just thickening the sound up a little bit further. Another thing I wanted to set up for the sound really is the modulation oscillator. So turn that on and take the pitch up by 3 octaves to +36, and just going to be using the phase mode for this, and we're going to be modulating the phase of oscillator 1. So click on the 1 slot there, and it has quite a drastic effect on the sound, that phase modulation. So pull the amount right down to 0 actually for now, and then we're going to use an envelope to control the volume of that phase. So I think we'll move over to the amp envelope first and just pull the attack right up so we've got a nice sharp attack. So we've got the amp envelope set up. Let's just set the voice in quickly, make the sound monophonic, that's all we really need to do there. Move over to the oscillator section, take the glide off and restart via gate, click that. So we've got quite a nice consistent sound each time a key is pressed. We've got the same volume on the sound, which is what we want for this bass sound really. And so next we can start setting these envelopes up. So when I was putting this sound together, I noticed also the wavetable position of the M torque oscillator. It's quite cool when you move that around, so I wanted to modulate that with an envelope, and also I noticed the phase has quite a drastic effect on the sound, so I wanted to modulate the volume of that with the same envelope to give it that same shape. So go ahead and click the crosshair of envelope 1, and then if I hold down shift, what I can do is assign this envelope to multiple modulation slots. Drop it in there, and also drop it into the modulation slot on the phase, like that. Click off, again just into an empty space, and that will disappear. And so now this modulation, this envelope is modulating the wavetable position and the phase, the volume of this phase modulation. So click and drag up for this phase modulator, so we've got the blue line, it's going round about to just past a quarter of the way up, and do the same here, click and drag up, so it's going all the way up on this wavetable position. And then we want to change this envelope 1 here and just back the attack right off to just past halfway. The level can stay on full, decay can stay halfway, push the sustain right up to full, and the release can stay pretty much the same really, just so we've got that attack backed off, so we've got that movement. And because this phase is such a drastic effect on the sound, I want to actually set up a macro to kind of control that. So clear that vibrato and click and drag the crosshair, the macro 1 here, into this second modulation slot. Turn on the sidechain, click this line here so we get an upwards arrow. So now we've got a volume control for this phase. So no phase, loads of phase, but we've still got that envelope controlling the volume. And I just want to turn this up a tiny amount. So it's like a really kind of subtle effect on the sound. That's without it. Maybe a bit more. It's given that quite a nice kind of growly quality to the sound there. So that's envelope 1 set up. Let's move to envelope 2 now. In envelope 2, I wanted to use this to control the cutoff frequency of the bandpass filter, and I wanted quite a similar envelope shape to envelope 1 really, but I just wanted a slightly slower attack, so I can copy this first envelope, paste it into the envelope 2 slot, but just back the attack off a bit further here really, maybe even all the way, so we've got a really slow attack, and then click and drag this crosshair to the cutoff frequency, click and drag up, so it's got all the way, so now we've got this. If we turn it off. We're getting like a frequency, sort of a bandpass sweep on the sound really, and it's just giving it the sort of growl sound and really nice amount of movement. So the last envelope here, envelope 3, we're actually going to use this to give the sound a sort of plucky kind of character on the attack. So you can click and drag the crosshair of envelope 3 here, hold down shift and drop it in a pitch modulation slot, the first one here on oscillator 1 and the same on oscillator 2. And then we can take the pitch modulation amount up by plus 12 on both of these oscillators. So a bit extreme at the moment. We're going to make that a bit more subtle. Take the sustain off of this third envelope here, push the attack right up so it's really sharp, and pull the level down so about 3/4 of the way up, and decay to about maybe 1/3 of the way. So we've got that sort of plucky sort of attack on the sound, almost stabby like character to it. So it's without it, that's with it. So we can use the attack level to dial in the amount of pluck that we want on the sound. Okay, so the last thing to set up here is the performer to modulate the pitch of these oscillators. So go to this first LFO slot here, turn that into a performer, and we just want to be using 4 steps of this performer, and we don't want any modulation for the first 3, and then we want to load in a curve, one of these reversed kind of tight sort of curves here, and we don't really want to use any more of the performer, so we can just pull all of those other curves down. The X-fade sequence can be pushed all the way to the top, so it's only this top sequence what's going to be playing. We want to sync this performer as well and put the ratio to 1/4, and then we want to modulate the pitch of both of the oscillators using this performer. So we can use that same trick again, click and drag, hold down shift, drop it in the second pitch modulation slot of both of those oscillators, and then go +12, +12. So now what we're going to get is this pitch band up on the fourth step of this sequence. And control the level of that pitch bend here. And that's our sound, really. It's all come together, the kind of really kind of growly, raspy type sound. Oh, actually, one last thing, we can put some feedback on there and just push this amp up to just past quarter of the way. Just beefing the sound up a bit further, adding a bit of warmth. And there you have it, the Dubstep Growl. One last thing I didn't show you was this trigger 0 reset on all of the envelopes. So each time a new key is pressed, all the envelopes re-trigger. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you found it useful. Any questions, then please get in touch, let us know. And thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Cheers. Bye.